Hello there reason people, PoohBear here and welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be going over how I do ducking of effects. So that means that I might have an instrument, and in fact I happen to have this Omnisphere set up. I just happened to be watching a video, I think it's a D50, and I remember there was some waveform to do with the D50 Omnisphere, so I started to build something up, and it's got quite a nice big reverb, so it's got quite a lot of effects on it. And then when I was actually messing around with it, I wanted to have, when I stop playing, to have a real nice big echo going. So effectively, this is what we're going to end up with. So when I'm playing the instrument, you can actually hear the instrument more. And then you can hear the echo coming in afterwards. So if I play a single key, you can hear the echo a lot clearer. At the same time as that, I happened to be on Facebook in one of the VST offers, you know, when deals come up, the deal page, and it was talking about this space ducker. I also knew about the mutant delay, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have a quick look at these as well. So I'm only going to go touch on these very, very briefly. So just to start with, the actual sound I've created sounds like this. So it's quite a lush sound, as I say, quite a lush sound to start with, and the echo which I was putting on it was effectively this. And of course, if that was on full all the time while I was playing, it just becomes a big mess, whereas obviously that's effectively what we're going to be doing. So as I said, let's have a quick look at these, and I'm only going to very briefly look at what we've got. I've only got these on trial as well. This is like the mutant delay. The one nice thing I do like about the mutant delay is it's going to have a nice sort of pink. That's my dry signal, and this light colour is the wet signal coming through. And you can hear the echo coming through on that. Sorry about that bit of white noise. It's got this like internal ducker, and when you look at this, it's sort of giving me the impression that maybe it's using some kind of compressor type thing, really, because of the way the threshold and the ratio is. So we've got that. We've got this, also got this like space ducker, or space duck, shall I say. It comes with a reverb and a delay built into it. It's got loads of other sort of things built into it. I have found this one a little bit more awkward trying to get set up over the mutant delay. Also, there's a mutant reverb as well they do. And the cost of this, you can pay as little as $10. It's one of these pay what you want, $10 up to $100. But the solution that I actually go for, and we're going to come whizzing over here to this particular stack here, is I'm actually using sweepers. So I'm actually using a simple envelope follower, and then from that I'm actually going to control the wet and dry of the echo. This isn't my final solution. I wanted to take you through certain steps so you knew what each part was actually doing. So I'm going to be playing the Omnisphere, which is going through, and if you notice, the sweeper is actually in bypass mode, and quite simply I'm going to take the feed from Omnisphere into the sweeper, through the sweeper and straight into the echo. But as I say, this is in bypass, but so it's just going to pass the audio straight through it, and then I'm going to take an envelope follower out of it. You're going to hear me call this an envelope follower, even though it has the word audio follow on it, because obviously it's following the audio, but it produces like an envelope which we can use. And that's the basics of how that's going to work. Now, what I wanted to talk about is a little bit about sweeper and how the envelope follower sort of works. And to do that, I'm actually going to use this audio track. I've actually got myself an audio track, so I should be able to get that playing.
Thought your feelings were true.
It's quite nice because obviously it's got a few gaps in it. So if I wanted it to go really, really dry, I can push this gain right up. And effectively, by pushing this gain right up, we're actually changing the voltage of the the envelope follower. So really by pushing it right up, and this is what I've got down here, I've got this little voltmeter down here, you're going to see that peak in 3. So effectively this is like a 0 to 1 volt, so that'd be 2 volts. So 3 volts would be up here, and it'd be doing its squiggly things, but it's going to keep the signal really, really dry, and then once the audio actually stops itself,
that your feelings were true.
you can hear that we actually now then get the echo coming through. The time from when something stops to when you hear the echo is to do with the gain, because it needs to drop off, and it's also to do with this release. So by playing around with this gain and this release, you can really start chopping things up. So if I was to pull this gain, say, right down, and this release right down, in between the words now, you're going to try and hear the echo will try and cut in.
That your feelings were true.
And you can sort of see on the graph.
That your feelings were true.
So whenever it comes right down, that's really when this is going into full wet. Now, if I was doing this with vocals, what I would probably do is I'll actually push this up just a little bit, which is equivalent of taking this control and setting it to a minimum value of somewhere around about there. So you've always got something coming in. I don't know, we'll just push the gain and the release up just a little bit more, and that should actually sound a little bit more natural, but you're going to have echo going on all the time, but quietly, and then it should come through quite loud.
That your feelings were true. That your feelings were true.
But as you can see, just by using this gain, this release, and the values really what you've got in the mod matrix, hopefully you can see that on your screen. Sorry if you can't. I keep forgetting that I run a 4K screen and I'm not sure what people can see or not. Yeah, you get a real lot of control of how you can actually set this up. But this isn't my final setup. So if you're listening to this particular one, you may notice that actually when it goes quiet, and in fact, look, this is where we want to look at and look at the squiggly lines. And if you also look at this control, it's kind of all over the place. And the reason it's all over the place is because this signal's actually quite a dirty signal. The voice, it's quite, you know, it's quite a nice static signal. It gives us quite nice smooth lines, but this is a little bit more over the place. Now, the kind of thing I tend to use more is this kind of solution where I'll actually use the Morfix and I'll actually do a crossfading. The advantage, obviously, of doing a crossfading, we've got different crossfade types we can actually use, which can help with different kinds of signals. But the big reason I'd use it is because I can swap this echo out with any other kind of effects I want. And in fact, what I can actually even do, I'm going to have to probably zoom out for this next bit, sorry about that. Let's remind myself to zoom back in again. So let's highlight that one. Let's come over here, let's grab some effects. And there's nothing stopping me, just grabbing an effect and just dropping it underneath, and off we go. So let's zoom back in again. Here we go. I'm going to hit that. And now, obviously, I can hit a key on the keyboard. And I've got the wrong one highlighted, so whoops. That doesn't help. And you can hear that wash going on. Let's get rid of that. But as you can see, I can really stack a lot, or you know, you can swap things out. So by using the Morfix, you can really sort of swap things around. So if we quickly flip round to the back, it's quite straightforward what we're doing. I'm just taking the audio out. I'm splitting the audio. So I'm taking a dry feed and that goes into the B or number 2 port. I take the wet feed, which is going into the A or number 1 there. And then we've got the envelope follow again, which is going up to the programmer. I think I did, I didn't show you how this works. Obviously there it is, there's my crossfade, and you just set it up. So basically that's wet, that's dry. That's effectively what we're doing. So when I hit a key, you can see that goes across and then it comes back. But as I say, it's quite a dirty signal. So there's some other things I do to play around, and I wouldn't do this with all, this setup here, what you see, this would be more of my box standard kind of setup where I want to try and follow the sound, whereas this sound happens to be a little bit dirtier. As you can see, it is all flowing around a little bit more. So I'm going to actually change the setup ever so subtly. And if we come here and highlight this one, what we need to look at now is look at the envelope follower as I play this. And you can see it's nice and smooth. Now, what I've decided to do here, so everything else, so the way the Morfix and everything else is set up, it's all the same. The difference is what I'm feeding the sweeper this time with. And basically all I've done is I've set myself a sine wave up, and by using, I can control that sine wave by setting what I've referred to as my large steps on this envelope here. And these controls, I think of them as a fine tuning. And that's what I've done. So I'm now controlling the sweeper or getting my voltage from that, which in turn is obviously affecting my Morfix. And the big difference is, as I said, you can change the types of how the crossovers work. I decided square tends to work quite nicely with this particular setup. Now, I've also done a couple of other simple setups where I've got rid of the sweeper, because obviously we could just use the amp envelope from here, or we could use an envelope from Europa, and you could do some other weird things. It might sound funny, I don't use Europa that heavily, and one of the things I found, or annoying things I found when I was trying to use these envelopes is, if I was holding down a chord and I'm just toddling along two keys, well, this one just lets the whole effect come through because it's not re-triggering. Obviously, this envelope here re-triggers, so whilst I'm playing and I'm keep hitting my keys, you would see this, and in fact, let's demonstrate it, what I'm actually talking about. So I'm going to play a chord and I'm going to play two other keys at the top, and you can see this is going to stay mainly over this side here. Then the echo comes in, which is quite nice. Obviously on this side, this one here, what's going to happen is I'm going to do the same thing, but you're going to see the echo come straight back in. It's playing it exactly the same, it's just not re-triggering. So there might be an option somewhere to say, I don't play Europa too much, I'm more of a Thor person. But as I say, I prefer to try and use this method where you're using the audio straight through the sweeper, because then things are set up more for you. You don't have to keep coming in and adjusting things. It's automatically set up. That's the whole point of using a audio or an envelope follower, because it's going to follow the envelope, the audio, should I say. But the problem with this audio is it's just that little bit messy. And that's why I decided to use this one, and I'm using the audio from the Thor. Quite straightforward, quite simple as well. And I think, as I say, the results you get are quite so much clearer, as I say. You can hear, to me that just sounds like a little bit dirty towards the end. Sounds a bit not quite the same sound as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to play out using this particular patch. I've got another Omnisphere which is actually playing the same patch, but I haven't got the big effect on it, and yeah, and a little bit of drums. So let's have a little bit of fun, and I'm going to say thank you for watching and bye for now.